Hello and welcome to the Dad and Sons podcast for the second time. Because I said something stupid the first time.
You could have blamed George.
That doesn't happen often, to be fair. Like, as much as we discuss it behind the scenes, there's not a whole lot that gets...
It doesn't happen that we get it right on the second time often, is what he means.
Yeah.
Usually it's like the 6th or 7th time.
Yeah. I said something bad. That's what it was. So how are you guys doing this week? What did you guys play?
I felt like I went back in time this week.
Oh my god, yeah, holy shit.
Super Metroid.
For two reasons. One of them that me and George have in common. And the second one because I started playing Final Fantasy XIV again.
Yeah, that's weird. When I heard you tweeting about that. You want to play
I know, right?
Spider-Man in the new Final Fantasy XIV?
You also got Elder Scrolls Online a couple weeks ago, and I guess haven't picked it up yet.
No, it's funny because I played that for like 20 hours after Matt's suggestion, and I
Holy shit.
I enjoyed my time with it, but I just it never gripped me enough that I felt like it was worth talking about, and I never got to the point where I felt like it was an MMO, so it didn't quite fulfill my MMO hole, my MMO.
I swear, if Final Fantasy XIV does, man.
It does already. Do you know what it is for me?
No.
Do you know what it is for me? It's seeing other people running around the world. And for whatever reason, like Elder Scrolls, I couldn't fucking find anybody.
Maybe that's a UK thing.
Whereas, like, even, obviously Final Fantasy XIV is quite popular, but even on the server I'm on, which is a European server here in Japan, so I'm playing at odd times compared to European time zones, it's fucking chock-a-block. There's loads of people.
I bet if I'd, seriously give it a stab, I'd actually like it. I've played a couple trials of it in the past.
I really like it, and I have dipped in and out of it, for 5 years, but I have never progressed to a point where I've had, a max level character or really got in depth with the job. Like, the first character I had was, a pugilist that became a monk. Now I'm playing, a thaumaturge that is a black mage now. But, I'm kind of sad because although I know there are some ways in which you can skip story content, everybody's telling me not to because that's the main reason to play this game, even though it's an MMO. And also, but that makes me really sad because I have a Heavensward and Stormblood because I have the PS4 Japanese Complete collection. But I just know I will never get to Shadowbringers, no matter how much I want to play the Gunbreaker.
Dude. You won't.
I just
it's gonna take hours.
Get there.
And my friend is the one who gets me, the one who tweeted at me when I said something. He's the one who got me into it. But you have to play through all the story content. There's no skipping. All of it, all the patches, every expansion, you have to get it first and play through it before you get to Shadowbringers.
Yeah, and it's weird, right? Because they have items and stuff where they can skip stuff, right? They have one item that you can buy that will allow you to immediately max one job up to level 60, which is 10 below Stormbloods but 20 below Shadowbringers level cap, right? So that's fairly good room to maneuver with. But that doesn't complete all of the story quests. It just levels up a job. So you would have to go back at least to maybe Heavensward to play through, I guess, because the things would open up, but I'm not sure how the path works. But that means that all the quests are open from the beginning of our Realm Reborn right through all the patches to the end. And then the other one is a story skip item that skips all the way to either Heavensward or Stormblood, depending on the one you chooses.
Oh, okay.
But it doesn't level up your characters.
What, you can't do both?
No. I mean, you could, but you'd have to pay for both the items.
Which is expensive.
Which would probably about be $25-ish, I think, right now.
But would it be fun to play that whole thing?
I don't... Well, you could pay for a level 60 job if you're sure about the job you want to choose. You can't choose a job that you've already begun leveling, so it has to be from 0 to 60. And then you can choose to either start in Heavensward or Stormblood, I guess, but it would cost you $25.
See, the end of the main story of the first part that you play, I think the Realm Reborn story, that's probably the best out of everything that I've played, every MMO that I've played. It's really good. But the build up towards that is so slow.
Yeah.
And so much like filler in between that you kind of lose
interest.
Its like, yeah.
Yeah, I feel that right now. Like, even though I'm enjoying playing it again, it feels nice and stuff. Like, I'm like a level 30. I'm about to do my final thaumaturge. I don't know how to say that fucking class. Thaumaturge. Like, I'm about to play like the last mage guild, black mage guild quest to get the job. To like then because I'm level 30. But I'm still like on main scenario quests that are like original A Realm Reborn, like level 25-ish stuff. And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna Google how many quests there are left. And I'm just like, I scroll down and I'm like, this is the quest I'm on. And then I scroll and I scroll and I scroll and I scroll. And it's never ending.
Yeah. I don't get it why they do it that way. I guess they really want you to play their story.
I guess so many people bark on about it. It must be pretty fucking good, but yeah.
I noticed in the couple stabs I gave at it, like, it was the one MMO I've ever played where the story seemed like it could be there. Like, it hooked me. There was a fun cast of characters with a town that had a sense of place to it. You don't usually get that from an MMO.
Yeah. The areas are beautiful. The animations are beautiful, especially with the mounts. The best.
Combat is really fun.
The combat is what my problem is.
The one and only WoW killer to have actually succeeded on the market for some reason, right? There's got to be something there.
Yeah, no, it definitely is. It's one of the top. There's ESO, that one. Guild Wars 2 is there, and WoW has always been there.
And WoW Vanilla is about to come back. So it's like it's never gone. It'll never be gone. We're going to be like mining bit currency in the cyberpocalypse of Cyberpunk 2047, and people are going to be playing like WoW Reborn Classic.
VR. And there's going to be VR.
Yeah.
I'm enjoying it. I am sad that I know my own history, that I just probably won't reach it.
Yeah.
And I really would like to, because I'd like to be able to play the samurai or the red mage, and I'd also like to be able to definitely play the gunbreaker and
break those guns.
Yeah.
Thancred looks really cool in the trailer, and I'm like, I want to be like him.
I'm in Stormblood right now.
So what about Elder Scrolls Online? Does it actually feel like do you agree with Matt that it actually feels like an Elder Scrolls game?
Yeah, it definitely does. Like, it's weird because it doesn't feel like you're playing an MMO at all. It does feel like you're 100% playing an Elder Scrolls game, like fully voice acted. The quests have choices. It just feels like you're playing Skyrim, but like a version a few years later.
That actually works.
Yeah, how do they do the combat?
See, I don't really like the combat that much. Like, I don't like.
You're one of those that likes Final Fantasy combat and doesn't like action combat. It's so weird.
It's weird because but the thing is, it's not really action combat, is it?
Why would you want global cooldowns and useless combos?
It's like pseudo action combat. Like, you press a mouse click and then maybe your sword will swing and hit somebody, depending on how far the distance is, but really it doesn't really feel like you're doing anything other than like an auto attack in another MMO. I
think you need to look up and do some research. I think you just put in like ESO PvP or
maybe
something like that.
Maybe it's the class you picked, because when I was doing WoW back in the day, I really didn't like the combat, and I think it was mostly because I picked a rogue.
Wait, what class was I playing? What are the classes again?
Dragon Knight, Templar.
Oh, Dragon Knight. Dragon Knight was the one I was playing.
Oh yeah, you don't even get the Scorpion chain until like level 35 or something like that. It's the weirdest choice.
Oh, it's one of those things.
It's the weirdest choice. Yeah, you'd be able to like freaking come over here enemies. That's like the coolest thing. You'll never get tired of that, but for some reason they have it like at 35. It's weird to me. Whatever, yeah. There's a lot of weird choices, but the combat is good if you just have to
The
unlock
blocking
everything.
like parry thing is like, this doesn't work very well.
Parry?
Like when they try to hit you and you like block time it, so you like
you're using a sword and shield. Okay.
Knock them off balance and stuff like that.
Oh, that. Oh, okay.
Matt, what did you play as?
I played Necromancer. I played a lot of them. I played a little bit of Rogue.
Maybe that's what you need to make it feel snappy.
A little bit of Warden. I leveled up a Templar all the way up, and that was fun. A Magic Templar. There's magic, and then there's stamina. There's like different ways you can play the class, and then from those skills you can morph into different skills that are either magica or stamina. It's very complicated. It's not too complicated. It's not too complicated. It's not like see, that's the thing. I rather that type of combat and complexity as opposed to Final Fantasy 14, where you literally have to look up a rotation.
Yeah, like a rotation.
Yeah, in order to have the most DPS, and it's like the same thing over and over again. It's so boring to me. It's so boring. I want to just be moving around and cutting people. Like the best part about, I guess, Final Fantasy 14 is probably like fighting bosses and you have to like move around the telegraphs. Reminds me of WildStar. Rest in peace, baby. But yeah.
And that's the thing is like those games, like even like Guild Wars, felt like a lot more action to me than Elder Scrolls does. I don't know why. I don't know whether it's like Bethesda's engine about things. It just feels, it feels clunky. Doesn't feel right.
It's been forever since I played an MMO. Back in the day, the two things that really turned me off were the combat, how you had to wait for cooldown timers all the time because of latency, and then that kind of artificial theme park feel to it, where it felt like all the quest givers were kind of speakers on sticks with cardboard cutouts of characters in front. They would talk about how you were a heroic adventurer saving the land, but they do it in a way where it was very clearly being processed for thousands of players to be the heroic adventurer. And it seems like nowadays a lot of those problems may have been worked out, and I don't know, I'm eager to try both of them.
Yeah, I would like to hear you play Final Fantasy 14. That's very interesting.
Do you guys think I would like Elder Scrolls or Final Fantasy better?
Elder Scrolls.
Elder Scrolls, probably. Because you like Morrowind.
Yep.
Right, because I could just kind of see if you're like me and you didn't like the WoW combat, then you're not going to like Final Fantasy 14. For me, combat is extremely important for MMOs. That's why I only played Guild Wars 2 for a while, and I'll only go to the action MMOs. I can't do only when I'm playing with friends is when I do this whole global cooldown crap, and it's more balanced in that way, but I don't care. I want imbalanced action combat, please.
As I'm sure you guys and the audience have also noticed lately, I'm on this big like classical antiquity history kick. So I don't know, like I think I'm really feeling the Western fantasy setting here. I can raise my finger and be like, I know where that comes from.
It's been like 8 months, dude.
Man, okay, guys, I don't know how on brand this necessarily is, but it is for a future video project that's way off. But I started reading the Iliad, the foundational work of Western literature, and I don't know, it's really eye-opening. I gotta like give it credit for being that.
In what way?
Okay, check this out. This time I am doing a audiobook version of it, because way back in the day, 4,000 years ago, the Greeks would have told this to each other with the spoken word. So you gotta like have this poetry aspect to it. Yeah. But no, something really important actually got revealed along
Audible.
I don't know. Curiosity Stream /Curious George Monkey.
I actually started an Audible free trial to get the audiobook, and I was watching a Curiosity Stream series on Greek history while I was doing it to give it some context. So anyways, point is, with the audiobook version of it, you realize that every book, when spoken out loud, and it would have been slightly different in the original Greek, of course, but they last about an hour to an hour and a half each. and the narrator hops between three different perspectives of the Trojan War with a little bit of an arc that is kind of sort of self-contained in every little book. And it is kind of sort of like the first series. Every day I'll like hop on for an hour and an hour and a half of getting my update of the Iliad. And it's so easy to imagine people living in this brutal, miserable Bronze Age time of war and unpredictable deaths, having an excuse to actually get together with one another and go to the market and engage in this cultural practice of catching up on this week's episode of the Iliad. And that was just like the coolest freaking thing about it is how much both has and hasn't changed the way you read through it. Like for example, what hasn't changed is our kind of attention spans when it comes to entertainment. We still sit down for like a relaxing hour and a half out of a hard day to engage in entertainment. But at the same time, the characters and the narrator, they have such different minds than we do. They're so much less individualistic, and they think that gods are coming in and out of their heads regularly, and they live their whole lives in tight-knit clan communities, so they know everyone around them, and they also know the gods that are going in and out of each other's heads. And it's also...
I swear to everyone listening, this is not an advert. This is really what George is like.
But how in the world... If anything's going to be in public domain, then like 4,000, 3,000 whatever year old mythology, you can't advertise. It's free everywhere. You could read like 4 different translations of it on Project Gutenberg if you want. But I'm doing the Lattimore
Go to projectgutenberg.com/Curious George for your free Iliad.
Yeah, It's work. I'm doing it for research for a big mystery project months away that I'm super hyped about. But oh my god, it's some of the most fun I've had in a long ass time researching history and reading stuff. Like it's a truly immersive literary discovery I'm feeling like here. Like it's almost like getting lost in an alternate world building fantasy, except this time really digging into the lore is actually useful history that actually kind of sort of helps explain the current situation. Like it couldn't be argued that the Trojan War is where the line between Asia and Europe is drawn. Like it all begins here. Wherever the hell you are, Liam, is east of where the Greeks were, and they just called all that junk Asia. And that's why Asia is so big and probably shouldn't all be called one thing. And yeah, it's hard not to think as you're reading through this thing like elaborate butterfly effects.
I mean, to be fair, everything mostly left of them was Europe.
Yeah, they called everything south of them Africa, everything north and west of them was Europe, and everything east was Asia, and the definitions have stuck since because that's how they drew their maps. So thanks, the Greeks, for not really differentiating between all the isolated cultures of everything you guys called Asia, because people still do that. We're still living in their world.
Well, there you go. I mean, I watched the Final Destination series. Is that
the whole series?
Yeah, 1, 2, and 3, and I think there's a 5. I don't know why. But
were you bored? Were you... What's going on there?
Patronized.
Yeah.
Why did you do this to yourself, Matt?
Did someone put a gun to your head like it was a Final Destination?
I wanted to feel like garbage. So, I put some sludge in there.
So you didn't just watch one garbage, you watched 3.
Yeah.
So you really ran yourself through the sewage here.
I mean, I was already in sewage. Like, I went through some, like, the Maze Runner series. I like some young adult garbage. I'm not going to lie. Like, the Maze Runner, the Dark Tower, which was actually pretty interesting. But yeah, there was a Twilight series. Watched that again. That was fun. No, I didn't watch that again. I'm joking. I did read the books back in the day, though.
No 50 Shades?
No. That movie was rough and uncomfortable. Very, very uncomfortable. But I did play a game. But I want to hear about your game first. You guys both played a game, and what was it?
We played the game of teenage angst.
I mean, that could still be relevant to the thing I played, I guess.
Oh,
I thought
you guys
that.
had played something very specific. Okay, which
It
one
was a
it?
Netflix show, a now Netflix show, traveling back in time.
Speaking of traveling back in time for the foundational national epics of literature. Oh, speaking of also things that you kind of go through in high school, but the significance of it completely rolls over your head.
Yeah, you have no idea why everybody loves it, and you're like, sure, I'll give it a shot, I guess. And you're like, what the fuck is going on?
When I was a kid, I gave Neon Genesis Evangelion a shot, and I'll give you like 2 guesses why I eventually dropped it 5-6 episodes in back then.
Did you drop it this time too?
Not yet. I actually watched a couple episodes last night before bed.
I have actually liked it more this time round.
Oh, absolutely.
And it's weird because I knew about it and I had watched it when I was in university, like college into university. But then I moved to Japan and I was like, why does everybody sing the fucking Evangelion song at karaoke?
And on the trains.
Because it's a cultural phenomenon. And I used to see the EVA 01 unit train and go past my apartment like every day, 4 times a day. And I was like, that's a big robot right there. Man, Japan really loves robots. But then, with Evangelion coming to Netflix, I kind of was like, well, I'll have to give this a rewatch and see what's going on. I'm 10 episodes in again. I'm like, oh, okay.
When I was a kid, I eventually dropped it because Shinji seemed too whiny. Because it seemed like all the other robot animes.
He is whiny.
Exactly. That's the point. Like I was reading a retrospective on Polygon about this, how the creator was using the show as an outlet to explore his depression and how that resonated with the entire nation of Japan.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair to Shinji, he has it pretty fucking rough. But then he also gets to pilot a giant robot. So
that's the conundrum. That's like what it's about. So a year and a half ago, I got anime recommendations from fans, and I watched my halfway through Gunbuster. And after that, Eva makes a lot more sense.
This is the thing, we had a lot of comments about whether the hell you'd get through Evangelion.
We'll see, I guess, because I hear it gets weird, and I really like me some weird.
It's just generally weird.
Gunbuster got a little weird, like a little depressing, but most of that anime was like an exercise in how, for the first few episodes at least, it has this optimism to it where the kids are like, oh yeah, I can't wait to pilot this giant robot. But as the series goes on, they do some things that put it in perspective of how shitty it might actually be to have their short lives defined by mechanized violence, and how this kind of has a dark root in wartime Japanese schooling. And Evangelion just throws you into that shit right off the bat. Like Shinji does not want to pilot the mech. He denies the call to adventure.
Yeah. Can we talk about, like, I didn't really realize this at the time, and I'm not sure many people, can we talk about how useless the Evas really are?
They're like VR. They still have wires on them.
How ineffective and useless they really are. They suck. They're really bad. Like, yeah, fine, most of the time they win and shit, but like the amount of like failures and problems and issues and like the fact that they have no good power source and they're attached to a goddamn VR cable, and then they're piloted by 14-year-old idiots who literally don't want to be there, who are going crazy because they're piloting this giant thing. Literally the stupidest machinery ever. Is ridiculous.
I can't wait to learn more about how they work, because I'm really curious what Nerve's plan is for like next year when they turn 15. Like, what are they gonna do then?
Yes. Well, yeah, I guess we shouldn't spoil anything for people who are new to the series. Matt, I believe maybe that's you.
Yeah, I watched it like a couple episodes years ago. Didn't really finish it. I don't know why.
One of the great problems with society, I think, is that a lot of people recommend Evangelion as entry-level anime, and I think that's why I didn't get into it when I was a kid either, was because if you hop into it without knowing some of the reference materials, it's just gonna seem like another giant robot anime with a little bit more of a.
No, I don't think so. It plays off completely different to how traditional robot animes have been in Japan, which is, shonen mech.
Yeah, unless you actually watch those, you're not gonna know what it's playing off of. Like it's kind of like Spec Ops in that way. Like if you play Spec Ops without knowing the source material, it's a bland average shooter.
I don't know. I don't think you have to have watched Macross and Gundam to necessarily understand why Evangelion is quite the I don't want to use the word masterpiece, but like the reason it's so culturally significant in aspects of like Japan and also the world and stuff, why it's resonated for so many years. I don't think you have to have necessarily watched Gundam or Macross or any of the older mech animes to understand that.
It helps. Like for me, I don't think it snapped until I saw Gunbuster. It was when I was watching Gunbuster, I was like, oh wow, Eva has a lot of stuff to say about these girls and their setup. And now that I'm watching Eva after that, I'm seeing it. Like the way the show handles fan service, even though the women characters are kind of walking all over our hero here, like it's a little bit of a role reversal that still has to play within the same commercial demands of the market, which also speaks to like the tragedy of how Eva got interpreted as a vehicle for merchandising and sexy figurines and whatnot, when it was kind of sort of built to criticize all that. Like it's
Gotta get that money.
Shinji's an otaku, right? Like he's a depressed person who spends all his time alone. And Gunbuster,
He's not an otaku. He's not. There's nothing. He's not an otaku. It's completely different. He is socially awkward. That's different to being an otaku in Japan. Otaku is like a fascination with one thing, whereas Shinji has no fascination with anything.
Is that what resonated with the entire nation of Japan so well?
Yeah, being an outcast or being an outsider. Like, otaku doesn't just automatically mean that you're an outsider. It just means that you're very specifically into one thing, which people can find weird. Whereas, like, a lot of people in Japan, they have this, they have the saying about KY. KY in Japan.
Oh. Sorry, this is my contribution to this conversation.
I don't even know how to like continue off that, Matt. You truly train wrecked me.
I'm going off the rails.
Okay, so very briefly,
that old
in
meme,
Japan,
off the rails?
they have like a slang KY, which means like kuki ominai, which is basically like somebody's inability to read the air.
Mm-hmm.
So it just means somebody who is unable to fit in society, somebody who can't read the level of which everybody else is on and just fits in that weird void.
And that's a lot of anime characters.
Exactly, right? So that's a trope in anime, right? The KY character, right? Which is the weird one. A lot of times, otaku types are very similar to that. But otaku is very much like about being fascinated with something, being obsessed with something. Whether it's video games, it gets, or anime or whatever. It can be anything. It can be sports otakus as well. That's how they use it in Japan. But yeah, KY is very much like somebody who is deemed to not be able to read the air of normal society. And Shinji is a bit like that. But at the same time, he's just a 14-year-old kid thrust into pretty much the most stressful of situations. So I don't know how anybody would expect him to be any different.
I guess you would expect it to be different because you would expect the fantasy to stretch that out further, which it doesn't do. Like if anything, that's the shocking hook and the gimmick about it, because it's hard to nail what is appealing about Eve. Like the reason why I think it didn't hook adolescent me or like maybe Matt right now is that there's nothing really fantastic about the script on the first few episodes. There's nothing really novel about the setup besides the angels being a fairly compelling mystery. Like the characters aren't likable. I guess I don't know that I can't say that. Shinji, at least, I don't think is a very likable main character.
No, he's not. But excuse me.
Yeah. No, I want to correct myself and leave it there. The main character is not very likable.
Katsuragi Misato.
Yeah, no, she's likable. I agree. It's the lead.
Katsurugi's the best.
Like that's
She's amazing.
but having a lead who's not likable does a lot to turn off a 15-year-old George Weidman who's a
I don't
spoiled
know,
white
that's
kid.
That's like most of anime. That's like most of anime. Nobody really likes.
And I didn't know that at the
main
time.
protagonist. That's like a Japanese staple.
Yeah, like if anything,
Yeah. Are you watching it? Are you watching it in Japanese or the new English dub?
I'm switching back and forth, depending on how far away my eyes are from the screen, whether I'm watching it on the couch or the PC. And this Netflix dub, oof, it's fine. It kind of shows how a lot of English language anime is gonna sound stiff and neutral for the sake of lip flaps anyway, and I think that's really sad. Because if you listen to the Japanese dubs of a lot of anime, there's so much more life and energy and speed to how they recite. And then when you watch the English dub, everyone's real monotone, like this.
Yeah, I haven't tried the English dub, but I've heard like good and bad things about it. I mean, I guess when you're touching up a classic like Evangelion, which already has like a huge fucking cult fan base, you're not exactly gonna get praised for any changes.
Yeah, I think it just depends on who's talking.
People were complaining about the translations as well for the subtitles, and it's like, okay, but the guy who did it was actually from like Anno's studio, so I imagine he had more insight into what Anno was trying to get to, but I'm not really sure on the specifics of that.
The thing that trips me out is whenever I flip over to the English dub, the subtitles are still for the sub version, so they don't match. And it's a little thing, but I've seen that before in other online streaming services for anime, and if I pay too close of attention to it, it drives me fucking nuts.
So how about you, Matt? You gonna watch it?
Yeah. I'll give it a try again.
You gonna Netflix no Shinji?
Yeah. Give it a little tickle.
Bring over a couple of lady friends, sit down and watch some smooth ass Evangelion.
Yeah, that's the way to get them going. Yeah. They'll definitely come back.
I mean, apparently the ladies in Japan must have liked it, I guess. I was reading a retrospective about how theaters would sell out, people would have to stand, and yeah, you hear and see it everywhere.
Everybody knows the intro. I was in a bar the other day. We were singing karaoke. My Japanese colleague, I was like, should we sing the Evangelion theme song? And he was like, okay. Started singing it. Everybody else in the bar was singing it. I was like, damn. The song really is like known by everybody.
I heard the jingle on one of the train rides to Mount Fuji and back, and it was surreal.
It's not as good as Fly Me to the Moon. You guys don't even have Fly Me to the Moon in this version, right?
Oh yeah, they took it out.
Not in the Japanese Netflix.
Frank Sinatra?
It's sad piano version music.
It is a Japanese Fly Me to the Moon.
I wonder if I set the audio to Japanese if I'd be able to hear it.
No, I think it's that you'd have to have the Japanese Netflix.
It's a regional lock.
Yeah, it's a licensing thing, I think. So I get to fly me to the moon.
You know what's especially sad?
It's great
about my life.
Many a thing, George, but do tell.
I did not know what. I first heard that song from Evangelion and not from Frank Sinatra.
Wow.
That is pretty sad.
So when I was a kid, I thought she was talking about flying to the moon and Jupiter in the context of the sci-fi future in universe.
Wow.
That made things weird.
I imagine it did. Fly me to the... It's great. It's good. Evangelion is worth a watch still, I think. If you've not watched it before, you should try it. But, yeah.
Man, I can't wait to learn the mystery behind the angels. That's something that I still wish I had found out when I was a kid, and I'm actually looking forward to getting that far into it as an adult.
Good luck with that.
Oh, yeah. I can't wait for it to get weird. I'm probably going to start eating it up and raving about it the moment when it gets weird.
At least you'll finally finish a fucking anime.
Good, because it's only like what, 20 episodes long? I don't know. How long is FLCL? Like 6 to 8 episodes? I finished that one when I was a kid.
Less, like 12 maybe? Yeah.
That was good. Good ass entry level anime.
Can't believe you'll get through all of Evangelion. Like 24 episodes, 2 movies, and then you wouldn't watch like Boku no Hero Academia.
I think I'm good on Boku no Hero Academia.
Wow.
Yeah,
But I don't know, maybe in the future I'll get it back.
there.
It's great. We didn't know that was gonna happen at all.
How long's it been since we last talked about it? Like 8 months, 9 months?
And
No.
yet every day, me and Matt ruminate on it.
Yeah. Every day I wake up like in a
Fucking
hot
George.
sweat. Damn it,
Damn it, George.
You didn't watch Baku.
That curious but not curious enough George.
Yeah. What have you guys played? Nothing?
I don't want to hog the mic.
I did play something. And it continues on with the theme of going back in time.
Oh God, never mind. Never mind. You guys played nothing good.
Play Bloodstained.
Hell yeah.
Okay, tell me about Bloodstained.
Well, we had a conversation about this, didn't we, Matt? Because you've been hankering for your new Metroidvania.
Yes.
And we were having a brief conversation, and it kind of came to the conclusion that you ended up just playing Symphony of the Night anyway.
I beat Bloodstained.
Wait, what?
No.
Did you
I
do
played
both?
Symphony of the Night after I beat Bloodstained.
Oh. Wait, you didn't
how-
say anything this whole time?
I didn't say anything this whole time.
You
I
mother.
thought you both
God.
played it, so I was gonna chime in.
I mean, I haven't
You
finished it. but
can't
I
be sure
played-
that I would. I was reading the goddamn Iliad, okay?
Wait, before we start, how long did it take you to finish it?
Oh man, I don't think it was that long.
It doesn't seem very long. Like, I'm about
I feel like-
7 hours in, and it feels like I've explored, like, a lot of shit.
Yeah, I think, well, there's a lot of hidden areas, but I feel like most of the time it's just figuring out where to go. That's most of the game.
Yeah, it's way worse than Symphony of the Night in that
Holy
regard.
hell.
Oh no.
It's awful. Like,
It's
at times.
awful. Like
I don't
really
know how-
bad.
Like, I don't know how Ega designed this. It like backtracking in a game about backtracking, and the backtracking is really bad.
Okay. Like I gotta say also I haven't seen how reviews have gone, so
They're pretty
I don't-
positive. Pretty
Yeah.
positive.
Okay.
Like sitting around the 8s. But I mean, I was going to talk about this, but Matt, take it away, my friend.
Yeah, the backtracking. I thought I wasn't gonna like this because I don't like the art style at all. Like, and the thing is, like, it's like, okay, why? Well,
Yeah, I go back and forth whether I do or not.
like, how is she fighting in that? How is she fighting in that? Like, it isn't.
oh the frilly dress.
Yeah, it's almost like a joke, like Bayonetta, for
Like
sure.
a Japanese joke.
Yeah, because everyone else is normal, I guess, except for the what's the other, Dominique? She's the like church character. She does look like someone straight out of
Oh, right, yeah.
Bayonetta. But like, I didn't like the art style. It just doesn't look right for me. But
It is weird,
the combat
like,
is
this-
faster now. It's not floaty like it used to be.
And there's a lot more like variety with it. I will say, like, one of my biggest things about Bloodstained on that point is that the amount of variety you have with weapons, not only weapons, but like the magic you can combine with it, the shard system is, I think, really smart.
Yeah. The thing is, it could get really overpowered really quickly. Because
Yeah.
what happens, there's a lot of things they don't tell you. Like when you max out a shard, it goes to your like, it's automatically on you. And you could click it on or off. You know that setting where you have high jump, double jump, and you can click it on or off if you want? All those shards
like the
can go
passive
to the
ones,
right.
the white ones.
Yeah. Those shards will become permanent, a permanent passive. And you can turn it on or off if you want. So you can, like, for instance, if you have luck and you max out the luck, it will go to your permanent passives and you'll get double the luck because you can have the shard and the luck at the same time.
Double or nothing.
It's pretty crazy. Like, you can make a really ridiculous character.
It's weird because I've stuck with the same couple of shards. Like, I use the head flail, that's like a mace on a big long rope, and I use the arrow fire, like the 3-shot arrow.
Oh yeah, true arrow.
Yeah, and I maxed that shit out. Like, they're like, I don't know what level they are for me now, like 6 maybe.
Mhm.
But man, I don't need to use anything else. I don't know why I would use anything else.
Yeah, the magic is pretty beefy. If you ever get the 8-bit fireball from like the 8-bit area, it's like, I don't know if you've ever been there, it's like above the final boss. Well, not final boss. Well,
How far from the double jump to the end of the game is it?
Oh no, yeah, you gotta ways to go. No, you can go anywhere you want from the beginning, mostly. But if you had the double jump, you could reach to the 8-bit fireball. It's just at the top of the castle, and it's where the first boss fight is. You know that whole thing. The thing is, I'll just say this: I really like this game. After you get inside of it, you just kind of zone out on things you don't like. You know, like there's a bunch of weapons you can use, a bunch of shards that are pretty cool that you can mess with. And once you kind of learn how to abuse it, you can get some really good results. There's a story that leads you to places, and a lot of the gameplay, it feels better. Like, because when I play Symphony of the Night, it just feels like every area kind of feels the same, and you're like, at least in the beginning, and it's like very closed, and you feel claustrophobic when you're playing the game. It feels like you're always going to get hit by something. And this one, it has a little bit more air. You know, you feel like you can dodge a few things. You can kind of, but yeah, I stuck with, I mess with the spear a lot. And
I used the spiral sword.
Spiral sword was pretty cool.
Yeah,
they're doing multiple hits. Beastie. Yeah, it just wasn't enough damage. And then I did, of course, the katana, which you can actually, with the weapons, you can actually read up text that will do different combos. If you do like, it's like fighting game combos, you know, like quarter circle.
Yeah, it's cool. It has like commands and stuff, like like Hadouken commands and stuff to do various different things depending on the weapons you're wearing, which is really neat.
And there's like 3-part combos, especially with the katana. And it'll take up like MP, but it doesn't matter. It's really good because there's rewards for going everywhere. It's kind of, it has that I guess what people consider the collectathon effect with like I was gonna say Galaxy. What was that game that you like so much that you love from Nintendo? That was a Super Mario game that recently came out. Odyssey. Yeah, that one. Yeah. That like cookie crumb thing. Yeah, it has a little bit of that thing going on. All throughout.
How does it now? But you like that one.
Yeah. Of course.
Okay. Interesting.
I gotta say, like, now that I said that, like, I really like the game. Like, the ending is just falls flat for me.
I mean, the story isn't exactly like award-winningly great.
Yeah, but it's like the boss fight. It just wasn't cool.
Most of the bosses are shit. Like, if I'm honest, like there are only 3 problems I have with it. It's kind of like a weird game that you do zone out on. I have found like myself just playing it for long stretches, but not realizing I'm actually playing it. Because you spend most of your time just traversing the castle. Like, enemies aren't particularly that hard to beat. You do become quite overpowered and stuff. So you're just sort of going through the same areas over and over again. And one of the problems is the backtracking. It's
bad.
It's bad. It's not a...
It's bad. And there's a power-up that you can get that makes it extremely fast, but it's later on in the game.
Yeah.
Way later.
When you don't need it.
Like when you're about to beat it.
Yeah. So it's just, it feels a bit like you can do backtracking like in Hollow Knight and stuff like that. You know, it's been proven that in 2019 there are so many Metroidvanias that you can do there. It doesn't have to feel as like archaic as Bloodstained does. Like, you've got nothing is labeled. The map is just the traditional like blue and white with green and red areas for saving and teleporting and stuff. You completely have like no sense of place. There's very little, like recognizable. The only thing I remember is like the blood fountain. Like, if I walk through there, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm here. Like, I know where that is on the map.
Yeah, that was probably the best backtracking one. It's like, oh yeah, like you got a power up that sucks blood. Obviously, the blood fountain. That was like sometimes you can go to Dominique and she will tell you a hint, but it doesn't happen all the time.
Yeah, like trying to find the hand boss for the carriage dude in the beginning. Like,
oh my god,
that took ages. And then I came across one of the hand blocker things that you use it for to move the hand. I couldn't fucking find it. So I gave up, and I was like, well, I'm just gonna go to the carriage then, and I'll just continue on with the story. Like, it's just like this is frustrating.
Yeah, it's rough. It's pretty rough. And
the other is the one is very simple. Is that the back step that they take from Symphony of the Night is shit.
It's useless.
It's terrible.
It's absolutely useless. It's useful in Symphony of the Night, and I've only played a couple hours of that, and it's already useful from the very beginning. But in this game, it's
really bad in Bloodstained.
It's very bad. It's slow.
It's very bad.
Most of the hits it doesn't dodge out of. So what's the point of it?
Also, you have to be. It's that awkward thing where you have to be holding the controller the opposite way. I'm pressing that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like whereas you want to go backwards, but you have to be holding forwards or neutral to do it. It's really strange. It doesn't like click in your head enough for you to ever use it. So you're always like baiting an enemy to attack and just walking backwards anyway. And the last one is just that bosses are kind of like weak sauce. To be fair.
I think normal it's got to be easy, dude. Normal has to be easy.
Yeah. Apart from the Zangetsu guy, which was a bit of a weird boss fight.
Yeah.
He was a bit frustrating. Everyone else is just like potion endurance.
You know who Zangetsu is? You know who he is? Who his voice actor is?
Is it David Hayter?
Yeah. Dude, when I heard about it and we were just talking about him and we were just talking about him in the chat, I was like, oh my God, it's Snake. Like he talks like Snake.
Like David Hayter doesn't even like care. He's just like, yeah.
Yes. he could just say Otacon and it would be Snake. All of a sudden, there's it
is literally just David Hayter phoning in a Snake voice.
Yes,
he's cashing in these days.
Like you can calculate how many we found out. Like he has $65 on Cameo.
$65.
So you could total up how much he got paid for that Bloodstained gig because he's just doing a solid Snake impression for like 10 lines.
Man, if he does like 8 of those a day, that's hundreds of dollars, and they're like 10 seconds each.
When are we doing it? We got to get him to write. We got to get him to do an intro to the show.
I'll start a Discord conversation on logistics after this episode because I'll reimburse you guys. And
wait, don't say it on the pod.
Yeah. All right. Anyways, I guess I'll finish up Bloodstained by asking if you guys think I should spend my time with that over the next week, or if I should play something that I don't know might be more up my alley, like Outer Wilds. I'm looking at Outer Wilds. I bet I would like Outer Wilds.
I like Bloodstained, but it has some major issues. It's better than I expected because I expected it to be garbage.
Oh no.
Always a good shout.
Well, yeah, no, that is a good strategy because that just means you'll be pleasantly surprised if it's even okay.
Don't buy the Switch version.
Oh yeah?
It has problems, right?
Oh man, like supposedly it's garbage. Like true garbage. Like runs like shit and is like garbage.
Jory, I don't know if I recommend it to you specifically, not to the audience. The audience, if you're into Metrovania, you're probably going to get some flavor out of this because I did, and I love it. So
you know what? I am a little eager to play it when it gets cheap just to see which game I have had more fun with. Salt and Sanctuary, which everyone always shits all over with their big poop butts. Versus Bloodstained, which just came out, and you guys had some bad things.
I thought people just shitted all over the Salt and Sanctuary artwork. I thought everyone loved the game, just the artwork was very Marmite. I mean, it is bad. But
I think I'm oversensitive then, because I really liked that.
Any 2D game, like I'm good to go. Like, and Salt and Sanctuary was like perfect time for that to come out. It was co-op. It was Soulsy. Oh my God, that game was good.
And it had that sense of place to it. Like I never really felt lost.
Nope.
You've never been the biggest Castlevania fan, though, have you, George?
I have been a big Metroid fan, though.
Yeah, it's definitely less Metroid, more Castlevania.
And I did quite enjoy Symphony of the Night, so I am eager to hear how Matt thinks of that.
Tell me I'm wrong. Like, does it get better? Does it get better later on? Symphony of the Night?
Well, one thing, I gave you the pro tip to use that backdash, basically,
which is
as a
helpful.
sprint button.
Yes.
Yeah, very helpful. Because I remember your default walk speed in that game is like a slow, steady.
Yeah,
it's like a weird trudge, like Alucard is moving through treacle.
Yeah, I'll say that it definitely felt, when I played through it in 2015, I think, it definitely felt dated and antiquated in level design because of that claustrophobic feeling you were talking about. However, the game does some really cool stuff with optional content and bosses, and it all still flowed in a way that I felt was good. Like the fighting button magic system, guess what that's from? You do Hadoukens in Symphony of the Night too, but the game's balanced in a way that you never really need to. So it definitely felt old but polished, kind of like Metal Gear Solid. Like there was a good sense of pacing and design to it, even though it begins and ends with like the most laughable of mid-90s
I love the
voice
dialogue.
acting and scripts. Oh yeah.
Oh
He
yeah.
goes to see the librarian. Hey.
I mean, it's written by the same guy who wrote Metal Gear, so you know.
Metal Gear just
about
keeps coming back to haunt us, or localized by the same guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Written by the same guy. Konami weren't that protective back then when they thought nobody will buy their Japanese games in the West. How wrong they were.
I just worry that if the level design is not clicking for you at this stage, it might not through the rest, because as I remember, it kind of, the first half of it is the peak.
And you'll just get super angry later on.
Yeah,
Like, I remember unlocking that elevator that goes up and down a tower, and, like, I was having a blast because I was like, oh, that's where Dark Souls comes from. And if you're not getting the same thrill, then I don't know if it'll last for the rest of the game for you.
Yeah.
So it just might not be up your alley.
It's annoying enemies. And yeah, maybe I'll give it another.
Oh my god. I just thought of another thing.
Yeah.
You guys are going to hate me so much. Liam, I think, might hate me for this one.
Excuse me?
I was playing in a PlayStation emulator where I was able to use save states.
Oh.
That's fine. I'm okay with that. Last time I played Symphony of the Night was on a PlayStation Vita, and I did the same thing.
So the annoying enemies
seriously?
is something
I
that
hate
can be
you
save
guys.
scummed. Oh, it was Matt who hates me for it.
I hate you guys. I am doing that. I am not dealing with starting.
Yeah.
Like, literally, when you die, you go all the way to the title screen. You have to click through the whole thing again.
Heck yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The clock thing and the castle and everything. Like, yeah.
They want you to buy a memory card from Walmart that your parent forgot to get at Christmas. And meanwhile, Liam and I are just spamming the quick save button.
I love it, man. Ever since I played the Mega Man 3DS collection or the one on the Switch, and they had like the rewinds and the saves, they sound like, dude, I like this, man. I'm gonna stick with this.
Save states are great.
I've always been a fan. I remember when I was growing up, there was a lot of like arguing over whether or not it made games too easy, but I think it just makes games more fun being able to experiment in the same area over and over again on your way through.
Because that's the thing, is you probably just wouldn't go through them again. Like you would get to the point like with Matt where the frustration would be too much and you just would never finish them. It's probably better to just see them out with scum saving them over a period of time.
If you're not Super Meat Boy, where you instantly respawn, I get really irritated. If it's a challenging game, because especially you go like 5 minutes into like a dungeon, you get some upgrades, and then you die from some random book that ended up flying in your path.
I remember those books.
And you have to restart that? No, man.
I remember quick saving a lot around the books in the library.
Yeah, the library, literally 20 books come out, and then you have the little brain things, and then you have the little wavy things on the floor. Come on, man.
I just remembered another thing that you're gonna hate, and that's that you go back and forth from the library a bit.
Oh, great.
So yeah, no, use those quick saves. I think we found your problem.
Yeah. Is that what we've played? That's what we have done?
I think that's pretty good for us.
Yeah, I played a bit of DMC5, but I have not beaten it yet, and since we don't have a lot of time, I will save it for next week because I would not want to cut myself early before the break.
Oh, doctor. Dr. Mario. Wow. But it ain't what you think. You get to zap these viruses, and with 2 players, you can actually trash the other guy.
Hello, welcome back.
Hello.
Hello.
Hopefully you enjoyed some Curiosity Stream ad action.
Please
but right
sign
now
up.
we're gonna have a little serious section. We're gonna put our comedy glasses down. And then you laugh? What's going on here?
You said comedy glasses.
Comedy
Yeah,
glasses.
like the Marx glasses with the nose and the
This is
mustache.
immediately what I thought.
I guess it's better to laugh because this guy he's a funny dude. I have no
this guy-
authority on this dude, but
No.
I definitely watched him quite a bit, especially a lot of the Smash stuff. Watched him stream a few. He's funny.
Yeah, the three of us are not exactly. We've spoken about this and we knew who he was, but we weren't exactly, people who watched his streams or his content fairly regularly or anything like that. Of course, the clips that get shown around Twitter or on forums now and again, but
There has been a very tragic and very avoidable death in the video game community this week. Etika has committed suicide, and I really,
at 29,
oh, it scares me, 'cause I only want to dance around it. I don't want to offend anyone who knew his content better so much as I just, this stuff scares me, and I hope it spawns a greater conversation that will be connecting more of these dots between extremely online lifestyles and creators who deal with the pressures of far too many fans, and how that really can slowly over the years add up to a suicidal amount of stress and depression. And man, I can't say I've been there, but I can say that I've felt maybe a bit of what goes on through a lot of people's heads these days, and it's scary and it's rough, and more people need to know how to fix these problems with themselves.
in regards to Etika, it was obviously incredibly sad that, for the past 2 months or so, some people will have known that his
Twitter.
there's been stuff that happened with him and like his Twitter and stuff like that, and everybody in hindsight's like, well, of course, this is the conclusion it was building up to and stuff like that. It's like that in itself.
Tens of thousands of people were watching it.
Or people were laughing. People were thinking that he wanted attention and stuff. So it was very
so sad.
No, this shit's real, guys. That's another thing that adds so much fear to it, is that tens of thousands of people were watching and no one could really seem to do anything.
I mean,
his friends. I've seen his friends reach out, say that they knocked on his door, stuff like that. And this is before all this happened. Every time he would tweet something weird or whatever, they'll call him and then they'll actually tweet them and say, oh, why are you not answering the phone? I remember, is his name D3? God dang, I'm forgetting the number.
The Smash commentator guy.
Yeah, Smash.
Destruction.
That guy. Love that guy.
Good commentator. Great commentator.
I want him on everyone. But
yeah.
He constantly would tweet at him. Like I don't know, man. It sucks. It sucks, and that's it. It sucks.
If seriously, it goes without saying, but if you are somebody who suffers with mental illness or have issues or problems, there is always somebody to talk to out there. As George has touched upon in regards to some experiences of his own and stuff like this, it's like everybody has times when it gets difficult or it gets tough and stuff like that, but there's always somebody to talk to or somebody there who would miss you or whatever. Just please get help.
I am aware that there are a lot of days where I just don't tweet anything. I make a conscious effort to try to build a wall between my online stresses and my personal life, and I wonder if not.
I get that a lot.
Yeah, I don't think most people are just equipped to handle that.
And it's weird. I read about this a lot, and my brother has struggled with depression and stuff like that in the past, and my grandfather committed suicide because of depression about 4 years ago. And I consider myself incredibly lucky that this is not something I have ever really had problems with. But even myself, in regards to what I do and stuff, I feel like imposter syndrome, like daily. But it's not something that I consider like a problem. But I can understand why people have issues and these problems and stuff like that. And it's just, please get help.
Yeah.
If you are somebody like that.
And remember that everyone you see behind a computer screen is a real human being on the other side.
Yeah.
Let's move on to a topic where we can be a little more emotionally
lively,
unchained. Yeah. Man, it's weird. It's weird going from that. So video games are fun, but business is around the video games is serious. There's a lot of money at stake. A lot of investors want to get their investment back. A lot of developers want to get paid. A lot of products got to make a lot of money. And Fortnite is one of those. However, it seems like the long tail of that game's lifespan may finally start to be dwindling down. Revenues are down 38% compared to last year for this month. Polygon
38.
I wonder how many millions that is when it doesn't really matter because they're making millions anyway.
It's a lot because the very same article itself clarifies that they just got a recently big boost. If you look at the line graph for this year, they just put out a new season of content, so they got a big boost on the yearly timeline. But on the bi-yearly timeline compared to last year, they're down about 30 and a half %, and that has
if you've already got every human being on the planet playing the game, there's no more human beings left to join.
I think it's to be expected. Yeah, nothing lasts forever. Eventually people finally stopped playing Counter-Strike 1.6 one of those years at some point back. That also correlates with the momentum behind Apex Legends slowing down, Anthem having its dead-on-arrival launch, Fallout 76 having an extremely problematic launch that is struggling to make a desperate comeback for. You can find a little bit of positive coverage over Fallout 76 these days. Oh, speaking of which,
we have a battle royale.
I hate to bring it to this place, but Liam, you guys remember Colin, right? My friend Colin. He actually liked a couple sessions of Fallout 76 he was playing the other day. He wrote a thread on Twitter about.
Dude, each to their own, man. There are bad games out there that I've enjoyed, like each to their own.
But anyways, Polygon put out an editorial by Daniel Friedman speculating that it's actually going to be a safer bet on single-player games over the following year versus live games, which brings me to some discussion questions for the podcast. First of all, do we agree? Will single-player games be more successful without controversy and scandal over the following years compared to live games? Or are live games still a good bet?
In terms of money? Successful in terms of money?
I'm guessing. I'm guessing that's what they mean by that. Or maybe they mean in terms of reception and coverage. Success is what you make it.
I mean, reception and coverage will always be better for single player, but live services, I think, would make more money, wouldn't it? Always.
That's the idea.
I don't mean any disrespect to the person who wrote this article or whatever, or what their background is or anything. I read the article, but it's just nonsense. Like, it's nothing to do with single player versus live games or anything like that. It's just that trends change all the time. We were literally talking about 6 months ago of the death of single player. Like, the Amy Hennig's Visceral Games Star Wars game getting closed down by EA. Lionhead closed because Fable was like going nowhere, and Bethesda had to resort to making an online Fallout, and ESO, and like, just stop. It's trends. It's peaks and troughs. Don't write an article saying it's a better bet in 2020 to make single player games. Like, for whatever Apex Legends is slowing down, Apex Legends has made probably tenfold the money that the 2 Titanfall games ever made Respawn. No, so even if Apex Legends dies tomorrow, it will still have made that studio and EA, in their investment of Respawn, more money. And that's not to say live games are better or a better investment, because obviously Fallout 76 proves that, but it's about making a good game. And whether it turns out to be a live game or a live service, for example, MMOs are live service games that have been around forever. There have been shit MMOs. There have been great MMOs that we've talked about today. Like, if you make a good game and it's a game that brings people back all the time, you're going to make money. That's great. If it's a single player game like Sekiro, or, for example, some big ones like last year, God of War, Red Dead Redemption 2, you're still going to make loads of money as well. It's such a weird thing for somebody to be like writing just a weird sensationalist piece because of 2 games not being good. Fallout 76 and Anthem. It's super weird. Trends happen.
Gotta get them clicks, man. Gotta get them clicks.
Got it. I don't know whether it's about that. I just feel like don't do it. Don't. You're setting yourself up for failure, because like in 6 months' time, everyone's gonna be talking about
it's probably not even him. It's probably like head honcho saying, "You need to write an article about this," and he's like, "Oh, okay." But I really write about the
I
industry.
respect Polygon, what they do. Just such a strange article to write.
I mean, how do you identify the trend, though, and say it in a more polite way? How else would you report that live games are like slowing down for the next 6 months window?
You just talk about the live games then. It's not about the single player being the better bet. Because ultimately it probably isn't actually. If you look at probably even the revenue of something like Fallout 76 and compared it to like previous Fallout titles, in regards to revenue and how much it costs to make and stuff like that, I'm not really sure it would be that disparaging a cost. In reality, there is like, for as much as we laughed at the E3 with Bethesda starting with Fallout 76 and being like, haha, kind of didn't have the best launch. But they immediately went into, and in my head, nobody is playing Fallout 76, right? Like, it's a waste of their time to continue investing in that thing. But they announced like 4 new expansions, like and updates and all of this stuff that's going into it, because it probably still makes quite a bit of money to do that. So like, even though it's dead and not doing very well, it's still making enough money for Bethesda to be like, well, we're going to put a whole team of people on this. They're going to be making content for it instead of just killing it. Because, keeping servers on and all that kind of stuff is expensive. So if nobody's playing it, it wouldn't be alive. So it's just super weird for people to compare the two, or like to say just this year, like after last year's death of the single player, that people are going to be like, yep, single player is the best bet. You should put all your money in those single player games, man. Star Wars the Jedi Fallen Jedi is gonna make more money than Apex Legends.
One dynamic to this, the they bring up in the article, and that you do see in a lot of comment sections of this, is the time investment of the two sides of this fence. That a live game is something that you're expected to keep up with, and a single player game is something you can pick up and drop whenever. And I don't know if you guys have picked up Apex Legends lately, but oh boy, I'm definitely feeling that.
Well, this is the thing, right? So poll the 3 of us. How many of us play live games?
I'm raising my hand.
Matt technically does, I guess. Matt has dipped in and out of Path of Exile and everything,
Yeah, Path of Exile and ESO.
I'm Siege and Apex Legends.
I'm playing like Final Fantasy right now.
Oh, I've been playing a lot of Gears of War. Sorry, a lot of Gears of War. Oof.
But how many single player games have we played this year as well?
A ton.
A lot more.
Yeah. A ton.
Exactly. So it's like, it's a balance, right?
I was very fortunate to have kept up with Siege, but Apex Legends is something that I've been playing on and off. And last night, I was getting creamed because, just like Matt said a couple weeks ago, everyone who's on it now is on a skill level way above what used to be the median. And that happened in Siege 2, except I was actually following the curve and didn't notice it as much as someone lower on the ladder would have. And now, I don't know, it seems like a more critical inbuilt flaw to live games, that whoever sticks with them is going to make it less accessible for new players as time goes on.
I mean, that happens, right? That's just kind of the understanding. It's my whole Final Fantasy chat from earlier, right? Like, I am 3 expansions behind, don't feel I'm ever going to make it, which makes me feel like, am I investing my time? Is it worthwhile? Kind of thing, right? But that's what you're getting into if you don't join a game from the beginning. That's understandable.
And that's why the writer has a wall between the two categories and how much time, which translates to money, players can spend on both.
No, like we've just all admitted to playing like 2 or 3 live games. Yeah, all the single player games we played, they might be numero uno, but From Software only made $60 out of me from Sekiro. They've not made any more money.
Also, I've not spent any money on Apex Legends, and I only bought the $50-$60 version of Siege back in 2016 when it first launched, and that's all. And I don't know, it's not people like us that live games make their money off of. We're definitely more stingy than the whales.
Yeah, we are. I'm watching SDGQ this year, like, right now. It's on right now, and I'm like reminiscing about all the wonderful single players of my youth, and it's great.
However, being a part of the player base gives the whales someone to play against and keeping the game going. And that's a case where you're consuming a product that feels free, that's really not, which is how advertising works.
It's peaks and troughs, man. It's trends. It's like 1 minute, it's the death of single player. Next, it's like live games are down. Put all your money in single player games. God of War was like 10 million. Everybody can replicate that. And then next year, it'll be the same. It'll be the same.
So the other... It's a little bit of a slow week, guys. The other big story that I scraped up that I think we might get some fun discussion about is NBA 2K19 having 50-second TV show commercials during its loading screen. This game originally came out in September 2018. It has since been updated to include a lot more video commercials during loading screens than before. The one commercial that's going around that's turned this whole story into a meme is for an FX crime drama that introduces itself with the lines of a character saying, "Never get too greedy." This is a feature that folds into a kind of ESPN-style cable TV UI the game has called 2K TV, where it'll flip from these commercials to some presenters introducing the game you're about to play, and people don't like it. There's a lot of negativity directed towards this thing. And it reminds me of how, back in the mid-aughties, we saw in-game advertising begin with things like billboards and racing games trying... And the conversation at the time seemed to settle that in-game advertising was fine so long as it didn't break your immersion. It did not offend people as much as this. This is crossing some kind of line, apparently.
See, for me, it just makes it more real. It makes it seem like a real American sport. Every American sport is just full of adverts. You can't watch any American sport without being bombarded by adverts. It seems like the realism is up this year.
It would take me out of the experience, and especially if like the commercial's kind of dated or...
You don't watch sports, George.
I don't watch sports, but if I was like... I really liked the NBA Street games when I was a kid. And
it's weird because like with the like NBA games and stuff, I imagine they're like, this half is sponsored by Gatorade. Let's look at the Gatorade replay. And it's not like a direct advert, but it is like the pseudo realism of having.
And that's the difference, I think. In NBA Street, if there's a billboard in the background with the Nike logo, you don't even notice. This, however, is in your face for 50 seconds. You can't skip it. So like if you were
watching real basketball.
Unfortunately.
So I mean, it's shitty and it's terrible. But I guess if you're going for realism...
the guy who's writing it doesn't have 2K or anyone that has 2K. He's going based off people on Reddit.
Wait, what do you mean?
You can see that you say, oh, a person on Reddit says you could turn it off.
Oh, you're talking about the Rock, Paper, Shotgun article on the story?
Oh, yeah. Oh, I'm reading the wrong story here?
No, it's fine. Well, the video clip explains things a lot better than the article's gonna, because then you actually get to watch the commercial.
Yeah, I watched the person who wrote it is British and has no idea about basketball.
Isn't Rock, Paper, Shotgun, wasn't that founded by some
I think it's
UK writers?
Yeah, it's mostly British.
So what, they don't have 2K?
What's the name of the author?
Matt Cox.
Maybe that Cox is a very British sounding surname.
It is. I'm gonna see what I can find out.
Why are we digging things up about this author right now?
Because we gotta know if he's British or not, apparently.
This is the
I mean, I'm British, and I've just told you that my recollection of all American sports is to watch adverts for 70% of the time and then watch sports for 30% of the time.
God almighty, if you ever go to a basketball game in real life, it's the most frustrating thing because then you have to sit through the commercial breaks in the stands.
Yeah, I don't like going to any of them. I don't. It's weird. They usually have that show and you can barely see them and it's hot and no.
And the beer is like $18 a bottle.
Yeah. And they don't sell water for some reason.
So maybe that's the next step up they can do to increase realism here is like have the video game console come with a beer dispenser, but you got to pay $18 while you watch the commercial. And just like real basketball, every like 2 minutes can be a commercial break. So you can get your advertising in and make the company a little bit more money, even though you already bought the game.
No, I don't know if I care if the game is actually loading, but I also don't want it because of what it will eventually end up being. You know, because I used to be able to pick up a game and not have to worry about ads. I'm playing the game. But now I'm watching ads, you know?
We're going to get so many emails next week of people being like, taking Matt's direct quote and being like, I don't want to listen to Curiosity Stream adverts. I just want to hear my podcast, man. I don't want to fucking sit through these adverts.
What are you talking about? Wait, hold on. This is the difference between a podcast, right? Something you don't pay for, and a game you pay $60 for it, and you get ads that you never used to get before.
That's true.
Yeah, that's another dynamic to this. Like would it be more palatable if the game was really cheap or free and then made you watch a loading screen?
So
ad?
if Apex Legends started pumping out like buy Jedi Fallen, the brand new EA game or whatever it's called.
If they played game trailers while you were waiting for a new match in Apex Legends, like a part of my brain is like, ugh, but another part of my brain is like, yeah, no, okay, whatever, I'll deal with it.
Yeah. I got this game for free. It's weird, the concept of free in video games now. Look at what Team Fortress has done to us.
In NBA 2K19, let's see what this is still on Amazon. And then I'll move us on. PlayStation 4 version it's $20 still. So I guess it would have been more expensive on launch, but right now it's $20. It is $10 on Steam. So it's not that expensive right now, although I did recently hear that they slashed the price.
Well, it's the Steam Summer Sale right now, so that might be.
So this might not be representative of what listeners are going to see when they look up these prices.
EA Sports.
It's in the game.
It's in the advert. EA Sports presents Jedi Fallen in your Apex Legends.
Oh.
Just fall right down into those legends.
Oh, it's 2K Sports. My bad.
It's Fallen Order, isn't it? I keep saying Jedi Fallen, but it's Fallen Order.
Yeah, we have listener questions. Not a lot this week, though. We need more. The inbox is getting dry. I'm digging stuff up from weeks ago here.
Come on, guys. You need to step that up. dadandsonspodcast@gmail.com.
Also, we want to get a game show segment going. Oh my god, it's been months, hasn't it? So yeah, send us ideas for participation game shows. Send us questions, comments, and suggestions, but mostly questions. We like to have a good long list of questions to fall back on each week. First question for this week.
Remember to keep an eye out on the Twitter. The next week, as it'll be the Twitter show.
Every other week, we will be pulling questions from Twitter, and every single week at all, I guess, we hope to have some in the inbox. First question is from Wingry C. Says, Dear Dad and Sons, I'm a fan from Malaysia here. Since the announcement of Tales of Arise, I've been playing Tales of Berseria. Halfway through the game, I can see that it's trying to be a JRPG and yet at the same time having a good character action game-inspired combat, to the point where it feels like the game takes a lot of inspiration from God Hand. But the game did just okay in the JRPG part and the action part, but not amazing. This eventually comes to the question that I want to ask. What kind of games do you feel have a similar identity crisis? And which part should they have focused on to make it amazing?
Oh my god, there were so many.
Oh yeah, there was a big trend, I want to say, when GTA 3 became popular, where like for a couple of years, a whole lot of PlayStation 2 games came out that were trying to be a jack of all genres and not not great at any. I think the most egregious example I remember is some like kiddie platform hero that got turned into a edgy, angsty teenager-y thing, and there was driving and shooting and melee combat, and none of them were great. It was named something like Nyx.
For me, the most recent example is something like Katana Zero, which, you know, tries to be like Hotline Miami, but at the same time have a very sort of serious story, choose your own answers narrative path, and both for me don't exactly land very well.
It wasn't Styx, Nyx, Hicks, Dix. What was that game?
Do you have any games, Matt, that you maybe Bloodstained?
Yeah. Well, I mean, he helped create Castlevania, right?
Yeah.
Or did he create Castlevania? Well, obviously
he didn't
there's a team
Castlevania.
involved when.
No, he came later. He came in to supervise for some Konami stuff, and then he got given the opportunity to direct Symphony of the Night, which is the first in what is known as the Igavanias, the Metroidvania type Castlevania games.
Vex! It was called Vex! Google search for Vex and you will find like the poster child of that angsty teen goth phase that the PS2 went through. Where GTA 3 and Vice City were selling gajillions and everyone wanted to make things edgier, and it was real immature and cringy for a while.
Yeah, no.
So Vex was a game that looked like it was originally built for a much younger audience, but got rebooted halfway through development for an angsty teenager audience that incorporates gameplay from several different genres that I only remember.
Wait, wasn't Vex like... Vex was like part of that like long-running 4 years of non-stop PS2 Jak and Daxter platforming clones.
Mm-hmm. It looks and feels like a Jak and Daxter game, but the characters real like mean and angry looking with nasty claws and stuff.
There were so many of them. Ty the Tasmanian Tiger, obviously Sly Cooper.
I had a relative give me a copy of Scalar one Christmas.
Oh boy, Nitro Rad. He's the guy who knows this kind of shit. He knows all about those cheap ass platformers.
I can't believe I'm digging out Vex as my example.
Vex. That's perfect, actually. A lot of older games did that back in the PS2 era.
Yeah, like that open world 3D.
Yeah.
We're going to have a spin on platforming, but we're not going to quite get the platforming right, and we're not going to quite get our new mechanic right either.
And I feel like that came back a bit for open world games this gen, except this time things just tend to feel better. For some reason, like around the 7th, 8th gen, like animations just started feeling heavy and meaty, and
yeah,
and shooting feels okay regardless of what game you're doing it in generally, unless it's Fortnite.
Like, speaking of, like, very quickly, like Bloodstained, a lot of, you know, indie Metroidvanias over the past couple of years have tried to replicate what it's inspired by, but just doesn't get either the Metroid or the Vania parts right in any way, and they sort of stumble a little bit.
Next question is from Daniel H. Daniel H says, "Hi, Dad and Sons. I'm a big reader of fantasy and sci-fi novels. With the success of the Witcher series by CD Projekt Red, Tom Clancy games, or the Metro series, why aren't more games made from book source materials? I think there is a lot of untapped potential with converting books to games, especially in the fantasy and sci-fi settings. What are your thoughts? And what books do you think would make a great jump to video games?"
That's a good question.
Yeah, this has always intrigued me why people don't do it. And I imagine with like TV and film, old comic, there is a lot of visual elements already there. That makes it a little easier, whereas you have to, you know, come up with concept art for stuff. And I guess, you know, Lord of the Rings had games prior, but then it got a little easier when they made the movies. I don't really know why, but Brandon Sanderson's Stormlight Archives, I want to see that as a game.
It's been done before, but I would love to see a modern take on The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
That would be good.
Yeah, get the Portal writers on it.
Ender's Game, obviously. No. This one is not technically sci-fi. I guess No, yeah, it's more fantasy. But I'm gonna choose it anyway. The Warded Man.
The
That is
Warded Man.
it's dope. It's so dope, dude. Warded Man. I would love to see that because you would play like this guy that fights demons and he eats them to get struck. Like it's oh my god,
So the
it was
darkness.
so dope. I read like I read like 3 books. I'm like 3 books deep into that. It's good.
I would like to speculate on why it doesn't happen more often, though, because when it does, it seems to work out pretty well. Like, they give the example of The Witcher, which I think is a brilliant move. It means that the world building and the characters and some very, very basic plot arcs are already done for the game designers. And what the game designers are going to be good at is designing games, not writing and world building and character developments. And, they also cite Metro. Tom Clancy gets a little wishy-washier. Man, it was weird thinking that Rainbow Six began with the simultaneous launch of both the game and the book around the same time of one another. And that's harder to imagine these days. But I do wish it happened more often because it seems like it would save developers of RPG games in particular a lot of time. The Forgotten Realms setting is utilized for Baldur's Gate, and people eat that shit up. They love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And some books actually work with the character kind of growing up, so it could be like leveling up. Like The Warded Man works excellently like that.
The Lies of Locke Lamora. That's a good book, good series about thieves and stuff. That would be cool.
However, once again, don't know how on brand this is for the podcast because now that I'm reading the Iliad, I really, really, I would love to see a rock opera movie or TV version of it that does it right, with a narrator who, like, sings to characters who sing back with, like, comedic cutaways to the pillars of the earth shaking when they strike each other with hammers, and there being the humor and the livelihood and the rhyming and the music and the meter to it that actually is there in the original script. Usually video versions of the Iliad and the Odyssey are like really dry and dull and boring, but the text is lively, it's exciting, it's way different.
There you go.
My mind has wandered from games. And like that, we must wander from this recording session
to the shores of the Far East with the elves.
Let's see. It's really interesting hearing Homer describe real places in Greece. And the land of Athens, where the water flows freely and the maidens are the fairest.